The story begins with several people laughing at a nighttime festival under the intense glow of the moonlight, commenting on how it is such a beautiful night to have fun. Suddenly, a man appears eating a meat dumpling while crying. The people around him are shocked by the scene of the man eating. One man questions whether they should stop him from eating so much, saying that he might die if he continues like that and wondering why he is crying while feasting on such a wholesome meal. Another man replies, saying this might be the first time the other has seen that fat man eating. That man is well known in Hunan. Because of his clothing and his size? Yes, and you claim to be a merchant. You shouldn't judge people solely by their appearance. You have much to learn. Possibly, the man who was mocking the fat man wasn't from the area, but he must have heard of him at some point. That fat man achieved an unprecedented feat, uniting all the merchant unions across Hunan. He unified all the merchant unions in Hunan? Yes, it's that man, the great, literally large, merchant who unified them all. Yong Waren of the Ocean Sky Merchant Union? Suddenly, a woman points her finger at him and commands him to stop. A normal person eats 3 servings of meat in a day. This fat man has already eaten 3 days' worth of food in one meal. Please stop eating, she says, trying to pull him away. I can't believe he was known for his good looks when he was younger, she continues. If he keeps eating like this, it will have grave consequences for his health. But if I don't keep eating, the nightmare will continue haunting me, that day of nightmares. Do you really intend to die living like this, Waren? Yanawa, says the fat man, tears streaming down his face. Moments later, a carriage is seen in the middle of a forest. Waren reflects, these jewels, this wealth, it's all meaningless now. I've been trying to heal a wound that will never close with gluttony and expensive jewels. The pain of losing people can only be healed by people, even if the nightmares of that day still haunt me. Yanawa, standing by, refers to him as Young Master, even though it has been ages since Waren was known as the Young Master of the Tianzhong clan. Now he is the head of the Ocean Sky Merchant Union. However, to Yanawa he will always be the Young Master of the Tianzhong clan, regardless of how much time has passed. Waren notices that Yanawa has developed a few warts on her face, a sign of aging. He recalls how, when he left the clan and married the daughter of another family, Yanawa followed him and continued to serve him. She is not merely a servant, she is family. If not for her, I would already be dead, he thinks, remembering the day the Tianzhong clan met its end. Waren had once despised his own family, hating his father more than anything in the world. From now on, this thing will stand in my place, he had declared, leaving a statue behind as a proxy for himself. If father asks for me, point him to this statue. Sometime after, he revolted against the entire family. Despite being the eldest son and the next leader of a once prosperous martial arts clan, he was effectively sold into the Ocean Sky Merchant Union through a political marriage, a proposal he did not reject. Years later, the Tianzhong clan was attacked by the Dabi sect. In the end, Waren witnessed the entire history, his clan and his family being consumed by flames. Even though he had hated his father, he realized in the end that he had loved him deeply. Consumed by rage, he had mutilated himself in front of his father's statue while Yanawa screamed desperately for him to stop, fearing he would die. Both of them cried uncontrollably. From now on, things will change, Waren decides. I will mend my relationship with my wife and stop being fat. I've spent too much time lamenting. Now, it's time to focus on my current family and ensure their well-being. He worries about how cold his wife can sometimes seem, but he reassures himself. Yanawa is part of this family too. I must carry on. Suddenly they are struck by another human. Waren shouts for Yanawa as their carriage is destroyed by some kind of projectile. He is thrown aside as a long-haired, bloodied old man crashes against a tree, complaining about his organs being shattered. Ninjas appear in the forest, attacking the old man. One of them stabs the old man's hand, declaring there is no chance of escape. How dare you betray me? The old man demands as the ninjas stab his chest repeatedly. Goodbye, dear master, one of the ninjas says. If I don't grind and drink you alive, I'll never be recognized as the demon master, the old man declares, emitting an intense red aura. Meanwhile, Waren finally regains consciousness. As he rises, he finds Yanawa lying on the ground, covered in blood. When he approaches her, he realizes she is already dead and screams in despair, cursing his sudden misfortune. Back at the scene of the old man, after slaughtering the ninjas, he crawls and whispers that he needs a new body before his heart stops. He will use the spirit possession technique. Coughing up more blood, he resigns himself to the end, lamenting that no one is near. Suddenly, he hears a voice calling him an old fool. It's Waren, cursing him for killing a member of his family. She got caught up in your mess. Why did you have to fight here? Say something, you old bastard. My family is gone. You shouldn't. The old man murmurs before swiftly striking Warren 3 times with pressure point attacks, leaving his body immobilized. You shouldn't treat an injured old man like this, the old man says mockingly. Warren, despite knowing he is a martial artist, loses his composure. Damn it. As this is his last chance to use the spirit possession technique, the old man decides to settle for a young and capable body, even if it is the body of a pig. The old man channels 160 years of martial essence, true chi, into his left hand and his soul into his right hand, transferring both into Warren's body. Suddenly both bodies fall to the ground. Then Warren rises with a dark smile. The old man's possession was a success. Yet something is amiss. Warren's soul is resisting, determined not to die. He will survive and take vengeance for his clan. The old man is astonished by Warren's strength but begins suppressing his soul. Warren's consciousness starts to fade. Unexpectedly, a ninja who had survived appears behind them. So, the old man can transfer bodies? Truly impressive, demon master. No wonder countless demon cultivators across the 3 demon heavens call you their master. But this ends here. Curse it all. Just as the spirit possession technique was about to complete, the old man mutters as the ninja pierces his throat. A red aura bursts forth. Suddenly, everything seems to dissolve. Warren awakens in a strange place, a medicinal shop it seems. His throat is dry. Drinking water, he tastes a strange medicinal flavor. Then, noticing his hands are younger, he panics and drops the bowl. What's wrong with my hands? Abruptly, Yanawa, looking much younger, enters the room, alarmed. Young master, what happened? Yanawa? Is it really you? He stares in disbelief. Young master, did you have another nightmare tonight? Perhaps, this is another dream. To test, he steps on broken glass. Young master, why are you stepping on glass? The pain feels real, too real. Could this be? Young master, you shouldn't leave with an injury on your foot. Warren looks around, bewildered. Nearby, he sees the statue, the same one he had headbutted in his sorrow. It stands before him as if nothing had ever happened. Yanawa, this statue that refuses to let me meet its father. When was it brought into the house? That was about 5 days ago, young master, Yanawa replied. 5 days? The protagonist began piecing things together. Yanawa was puzzled, but suddenly as red energy radiated from him, he headbutted the statue with all his strength, shattering it into pieces. Young master? So this isn't a dream, he murmured. He didn't know how he had returned to the past, but upon seeing that statue, he realized he still had 3 years to prevent the destruction of his clan. Meanwhile, all the servants stared in shock at the raw display of power. With a serious expression, the protagonist decided then and there that he would protect his family and the Tianzhong clan. The Tianzhong clan was a martial clan near Hunan in the Tianzhong Mountains. There were several families that had once borne the mountain's name, but long ago the Yong family had unified them all. The people of Hunan began calling them the Tianzhong Yong clan. Those who remembered those times still praised the clan. However, the fame of the Tianzhong Yong clan had long faded, and people no longer spoke of them with reverence. They had become just another martial clan, the Tianzhong clan. In the next scene, a man was shown drinking tea. That was 30 years ago, he said. I don't understand why we haven't produced any martial arts experts since the late leader Yong Go-sang, the supreme dragon of Hunan. It was then revealed that the man was Yong Biyang, head of the Tianzhong clan. Everyone considers our clan a shadow of its former self. It's sad to think that we can't even deny it. Let us pray and hope that Warren recovers and becomes the leader who will guide us toward a better future. Turning to his wife, he asked, Are you aware that he hates me? He hates his own father, she replied. Biyang nodded solemnly. He knew that marrying again so soon after his wife's death had been a mistake. He thought time would heal his son's pain, but instead, it had only deepened the chasm between them. When he visited his son 5 days ago, he had placed a statue in the garden and told him, If you want to speak to me, you can speak to this statue. It will represent you. As Biyang reflected, Yanawa suddenly appeared, shouting, Clan head. Yanawa, why are you so agitated this early in the morning? Young Master Warren? She broke into tears. Stop crying and tell me what's happening, Yanawa. Young Master Warren is injured and unconscious. What? The scene shifted to show Warren lying unconscious in his room, dreaming. In his dream, he was playing by a waterfall with a woman. Warren, why do you love playing by these cascading waters so much? Because, mother, there are so many koi fish here. Look, mother, I caught a really big one. But suddenly, mother, he called out. His mother was lying on a rock. Still dreaming, Warren approached her. Come here, my dear son, she said. I'm sorry. I can't follow you to the waterfall to catch your carp. No, mother, don't leave me. It's all right, my son. Stop crying. Stop those tears. But then her voice deepened. Weakling. Stop crying. His mother's image morphed into that of the old man who had tried to take over his body. I will take your head as my prize, the man roared, his mouth opening wide as if to devour Warren. Warren woke up with a start. Confused, he looked around. The place felt familiar yet foreign. He quickly realized that he was back in his younger body. So, this wasn't a dream, he whispered. He had truly returned to the past. Back then, he had hated his father and isolated himself from the family. His father was brutally murdered with 4 swords to his back, leading to the collapse of the clan. But now, he thought, I can stop it all from happening. I know what's coming. Red energy suddenly began radiating from his body. Outside his room, 2 maids gossiped. Did you hear? The young master destroyed the statue with a headbutt. Do you think he really did that? It's always been said he's weak and constantly taking medicine. He's never even learned martial arts. I saw it with my own eyes, the maid with orange hair insisted. Maybe he's possessed. Suddenly the door flung open and Warren stood behind them. Young master. We didn't mean to insult you. What's happening with my body? Warren muttered. Something strange is going on. Suddenly his body grew warm and heat surged from his lower dantian. I need a woman. What the hell? He exclaimed, frustrated. His energy was overwhelming, making it difficult for him to move. It felt just like the old man's energy. This young energy, it's too much. I can't think of anything to contain it. I need to act now. Without another thought, Warren began running. Young master, it's cold. Don't run, the maids cried, knowing they would be blamed if anything happened. Warren ran deep into the forest. The energy was threatening to consume him, but then he saw it, the waterfall from his dream. Without hesitation, he leapt into the cascading water. As he submerged, steam rose from the water, and the intense energy dissipated. Son? His father's desperate voice echoed through the forest. What are you doing out here, son? I know you hate me, but don't do something as foolish as this. Are you trying to kill yourself? Warren looked at his father and with tears streaming down his face said, I missed you, father. To avoid suspicion, he thought I should try to rebuild our relationship naturally, step by step. He embraced his father tightly. I'm back now, father, he said, tears in his eyes. The two embraced while everyone around watched in astonishment. If this is a dream, I hope I never wake up. If it's an illusion, I hope I never open my eyes. 3 months later, Warren was fishing with a young boy. Looks like I'm going to win the bet again, Warren teased. Ah, it's like you've been fishing your whole life or something, the boy replied. The boy was revealed to be Yong Kijong, Warren's younger brother. Over the past 3 months, Warren had spent time with every member of his family. In his previous life, he had never spoken to Kijong, who had suffered a chi blockage while learning the clan's secret techniques. This rendered him unable to do anything, which led to the Tianzhong clan losing influence and becoming a branch of the Yuchi clan. At that time, Warren was already married into the Ocean Sky Merchant Union and had only heard about his family's decline. He couldn't do anything to help. By the way, Warren, is it okay for you to stop taking all those medicines you used to? Kijong asked. Oh, those medicines made me fat, Warren joked. You were never fat. Well, maybe I would have been if I kept taking them. Anyway, I like how things are now, Kijong said, smiling. As they joked and fished, Warren thought, I didn't realize before how intelligent Kijong was. Anyway, I like how you've been lately. You've been giving me an allowance using bets as an excuse. I win, right, Warrig? Showing off the fish you caught. Ah, the money, I can't lose this bet. So, you decide to throw all the fish at your brother, shouting, you're cheating, you're cheating? I caught a big fish right here, grabbing his brother in his arms and jumping into the lake. I didn't know before that he was such a smart boy. I placed such a heavy burden on him, sorry. Warren continued to train diligently every day, focusing on his health and martial arts. He wanted to ensure he was strong enough to protect his family and prevent the tragic events of the past from repeating. One morning, while meditating by the waterfall, his younger sister Xiaolin appeared with a towel. You don't need to do this, he said. Hee, but I like doing it since I'm your little sister, she replied. In the past, I never talked to Kijong, but with Xiaolin I spoke a few times. Despite how cool she is, she was always so lively and friendly. She loved attending events like fireworks festivals and often invited Quarren to go with her. However, every time she made an offer. Flashbacks. Brother, would you like to go to the festival I mentioned? Hey, are you kidding me now? Do I look like someone who has time to play with his sister? Don't you dare ask me something like that again. 2 invitations, 2 rejections. That was the last interaction she had with him. At one of those festivals she was killed by someone, and their father personally investigated it. Shortly after he was also murdered. In the past, Xiaolin asked me to go out with her twice. The first time is today during the Moon Festival, and the second is the Yong clan's New Year Festival. Xiaolin will be killed during that festival. Xiaolin, you said today is the Moon Festival, right? I thought you had forgotten, brother. So, are you going with me? Of course. Oh, this ticket. Should we go shopping? Yes, brother, let's go now. This is another chance I've been given, reliving this moment and spending time with my sister. I can't let things happen the same way again. To ensure this doesn't repeat, I need to become the strongest, strong enough to protect my family and the honor of our clan. Sometime later, a group of people is seen training at the Tianzhong estate, and among them is Huron. He reflects on how, in the past, his daily routine consisted solely of drinking medicine in his room and reading books, refusing to step outside. But now, everything has changed. Ironically, it seems that the ominous aura of the old man from before has motivated him to move his body, serving as both a way to test his strength and an outlet for his newfound energy. As he trains, his father, Byong, calls out to him. Huron approaches, and Byong comments on how much his son has changed, becoming emotional as he expresses pride in Huron's growth. Huron, slightly embarrassed, tries to remind him that the other disciples are watching. Byong laughs it off, asking why that should matter, and then proposes that Huron formally learn the family's martial arts instead of merely participating in physical exercise. Huron admits that he has been considering it, which makes Byong overjoyed. Byong promises to arrange for an instructor immediately, but Huron interjects, saying he already has someone in mind. Before Byong can ask who it is, Shounen runs into the scene hugging Huron. Byong jokingly remarks that Shounen only ever seeks out her brother and is ignoring him entirely now. She laughs, explaining that Huron picked out her clothes and she wanted to show them off, asking if they look pretty. Byong sighs, admitting he can't argue with her. Shounen affectionately tells her father that she loves him, but Huron, reflecting inwardly, acknowledges that just because his constitution has improved, it doesn't mean he can protect his family. He resolves to become strong enough to defend both himself and those he cares about. The scene shifts to a woman practicing martial arts in the courtyard. Her movements are graceful yet powerful, resembling a dance as she leaps through the air and lands lightly to finish her routine. Letting out a sharp exhale, she turns to address someone nearby, asking what brings them there. This woman is Mo Bayang, the Dragonflower Sword. The person she's addressing is none other than Huron, who greets her and states that he has a request. Mo Bayang notes that the rumors of Huron's recovery must be true, but she remarks that she has never spoken to him before, considering him a twisted individual. Intrigued, she asks what he wants. Huron immediately bows deeply, requesting to learn her sword skills and to become her disciple. Mo Bayang is visibly surprised and comments that she's heard rumors about his sudden transformation into a different person. While he does seem changed, she doubts that someone could truly alter themselves so drastically in such a short time. She points out that many people live righteous lives despite challenging upbringings, but Huron had spent his years wallowing in hatred and cutting off ties with his family. Turning her back to him, she rejects his request, shattering his expectations. Huron asks why she refuses, and Mo Bayang responds that she's busy investigating why the secret arts of the Tianzhong clan have become stagnant. She walks away, making it clear she doesn't believe in his so-called transformation. Huron, though disappointed, admits to himself that her reaction was as he expected. He recognizes that she still views him as pathetic. Reflecting on her past, he recalls that Mo Bayang rarely interacted with others in the clan, yet her martial prowess far exceeded anyone else's. As she walks away, Mo Bayang hears a sound behind her. Turning, she sees Huron kneeling on the ground. Shocked, she questions how the eldest son of the clan could kneel over something so trivial. Huron vehemently denies that it is trivial. He begins to mumble, and as she wonders what he's about to say, he suddenly yells, declaring that it is not insignificant to him. Huron recounts how Mo Bayang contributed more than anyone in the battle against the Devi sect, earning the title of Dragon Blood Flower, a name she bore with pride despite its unflattering connotations for a woman. Until she had a mysterious death, she gave her life for the clan. Quarren will not let that happen again, not to her, not to the Tianzhong clan. Mo Baiyang, intrigued by his conviction and noticing a change in his demeanor, reconsiders. She agrees to accept him as her disciple but imposes a condition. He must land a single hit on her in a sparring match. If he succeeds, she will teach him. Huron acknowledges the gap between their abilities but accepts her terms. Mo Baiyang clarifies that she will not use her ki or the clan's martial arts, making the match fair in her eyes. As the match begins, Huron puts all his effort into landing a hit, but he is knocked out before he can even touch a strand of her hair. As he regains consciousness, he is stunned by the vast gap in their abilities. Mo Baiyang, assuming the match is over, begins to walk away. However, Huron grits his teeth, refusing to give up. He leaps to his feet and charges at her, shouting that their duel is not over yet. She swiftly disarms Huron, knocking the sword out of his hand before striking him in the face with her scabbard. Despite this, Huron refuses to back down, insisting that their match isn't over. She continues to land blow after blow, relentlessly striking him until he collapses to the ground. Though it appears he has lost consciousness, she notices that he is still clutching his sword tightly. Recognizing his perseverance, she bows and acknowledges his commendable effort. As she begins to walk away, a faint red aura starts to radiate from Huron, gradually darkening. Sensing the ominous energy, she turns back to find Huron standing once more, the swirling red aura surrounding him. Alarmed, she immediately recognizes that this is not a martial art of the Tianzhong clan. Instinctively gripping her blade, she urges Huron to regain his senses, but before she can finish, he closes the distance between them in an instant. Although she manages to deflect his sword with a swing, she nervously notes his incredible speed. Huron follows up with a leaping overhead strike, and this time he actually lands a hit, sending her crashing into the wall. Cornered and assessing the danger, she reluctantly unsheathes her blade to counter his next attack, using the Soaring Dragon Emperor sword's first form. To her shock, Huron halts his strike just before it makes contact with her face. Confused, she watches as he starts laughing, reminding her that their agreement was for him to touch her. With that, he calls her mastered before collapsing unconscious to the ground. Stunned, she turns to examine the wall, realizing that his strike had carved out an entire section of it. She's left wondering what she just witnessed. Sometime later, the two are seen training in the courtyard. Huron moves through the sword forms with precision, his movements now fluid and confident. He mimics the techniques she first demonstrated, soaring gracefully through the air before landing with perfect poise. Watching him, she wonders if he's always had such natural talent. In just a few days, he has mastered the forms of both the Soaring Dragon Emperor sword and the Azure Bamboo sword. Despite being impressed, she notes that he shows signs of exhaustion. When he asks for feedback, she acknowledges his progress, saying that while he hasn't yet unlocked the secrets of the arts, his execution is impressive for the short amount of time he's trained. Huron chuckles, brushing off the praise as excessive, though she remains skeptical. Her mind lingers on the ominous red aura she witnessed during their match. She comments on the extraordinary speed of his improvement, noting how incredible it is that he was bedridden not long ago. Picking up on her hesitation, Huron sighs and jokes about the many blows she dealt him, claiming he doesn't even remember what happened. He points to a knot on his head, adding that only she would treat the clan's eldest son that way. Deciding to drop the subject, she assures him that she won't ask about it anymore. However, as a member of the Tianzhong clan, she feels responsible for observing him closely. Huron finds this a bit unsettling, joking that her watchfulness feels more like surveillance. Later that night, Huron sits in his room reflecting on his training. He notes how incomplete the Tianzhong martial arts feel. This, he reasons, is because the clan's techniques originated from the demonic sect. He recalls the history of the Tianzhong clan's progenitor, a wandering martial artist from Hunan. This ancestor had learned two demonic arts from the hidden saint cult, a sect that was neither wholly orthodox nor demonic. Over time, the progenitor modified these arts to align with his path of justice, transforming them into the sword forms practiced today. While their power was reduced significantly, they were still formidable enough to produce the greatest swordsmen in Hunan. However, the combination of demonic techniques with orthodox cultivation left the martial arts incomplete, preventing the progenitor from reaching the supreme peak. Keeping this origin a secret, the progenitor laid the foundation of the clan. Eventually, the truth resurfaced, leading to the clan's downfall. Clenching his fists, Huron resolves to change this fate. Unlike his ancestor, he has knowledge of the future and a way to complete the martial arts. His clenched fists, however, betray not anger but excitement. The following day Huron meets with his father, Byung, and his stepmother. He informs them of his intention to visit the Yeagle clan. When Byung inquires about the reason, Huron explains that since he has regained his health through martial arts, he believes it is time to fulfill the arranged marriage between their families. Byung reflects on how time has flown, recalling that the marriage was arranged before Huron was even born. He starts to say the name of the Yeagle daughter, but Huron cuts him off, confidently stating her name, Yeagle Changyang. Byung smiles into his cup, affirming this and reminiscing about his great friendship with her father, Yujol. He mentions hearing that Changyang is extraordinarily beautiful and asks when Huron plans to leave. Huron's stepmother expresses concern, suggesting that he should take more time to recover fully before embarking on such a journey. Byung, however, insists that traveling and making connections are important experiences for someone of Huron's age, sharing that he met Yujol when he was around the same age. Reluctantly, the stepmother agrees but emphasizes the need for Huron to prioritize his health and safety during the long journey, which will take over a month. She insists that he bring a reliable bodyguard. At this, Byung's mood shifts dramatically, and he appears visibly annoyed. Huron is glad to see her but immediately asks about the two men standing behind her, who slowly step forward. Without hesitation they start grabbing at Huron, inspecting his physique. Confused, he wonders aloud what on earth is happening. The two men grin, commenting that he's in great shape and has clearly been training his body. They note he's significantly different from before. Huron realizes who they are, identifying them as the Rising Ghost Blades. He greets them politely, and they explain they've been sent to protect him. One of them adds that Huron has the potential to bulk up and build significant muscle mass. The two brothers, introduced as Young-wook and Nam-wook, are described as muscle-headed but immensely skilled swordsmen, enough to earn the title of Ghost Blades. Huron acknowledges that his father must have put great care into selecting his guards. Taking charge, Huron informs them that he will determine the route for their journey and asks them to follow his lead without question. Young-wook, after a moment of consideration, agrees with a smile. With that settled, Huron declares they should leave immediately. Before their departure, Huron bids farewell to his family. Shounen, emotional, wipes her tears and asks if he really has to go. Huron apologizes and promises to take her wherever she wants during the central festival. Shounen brightens, asking if he's serious, and he reassures her with a smile. His stepmother and younger brother watch him fondly. Huron turns to Ki-young, entrusting him with the care of their family while he is away. Ki-young, noticing how tall and confident Huron seems, vows to protect their family with his life, saluting him. As Huron takes a few steps back to leave, his father, visibly teary-eyed, watches him with pride. Huron pays his respects to the family one last time before setting out with his group. Just as they are about to leave, a familiar voice calls out, urging him to wait. He turns to see Yango running toward him. Instantly, a memory flashes in his mind. He recalls the clan's downfall and riding away in a carriage while Yango chased after him, begging to go with him. The scene unfolding now feels eerily similar. Young-wook suggests Huron refuse her request, reasoning that it's far too dangerous for a servant girl to join them. Huron dismounts his horse, asking the group to wait as he approaches Yango. She closes her eyes, expecting a scolding or even a slap, but to her surprise, Huron hugs her. Caught off guard, her eyes fill with tears, and the others watch in astonishment. Huron gently tells her that he is deeply grateful for her loyalty and presence, but the journey ahead is treacherous and he cannot protect her. He asks her to stay behind, promising that she is part of his beloved family. Blushing, Yango agrees, though she can't hold back her tears. As Huron rides away, Yango reflects on his words, determined to support him from afar. Huron meanwhile reveals his true plan. The visit to the Yeagle clan is merely a cover. Their destination is not Yeagle but Wudong Mountain, where the secret to perfecting the clan's martial arts lies. As they approach the mountain range, the narrative shifts. Suddenly, Huron finds himself in an expansive, endless body of water. He wanders, confused by the vastness, until he notices something in the water, a signboard. Picking it up, he recognizes it as the Tianshang clan's board. When he looks up, the water around him transforms into an ocean of flames, and the Tianshang clan house appears, engulfed in fire. Shocked, he runs toward it, shouting in disbelief, only to be confronted by a figure, the demonic master. The old man mocks Huron, calling him a fool and chastising him for wasting an extraordinary opportunity. Huron demands to know how the master is there, but the old man sneers, peering into his soul, and commands Huron to surrender his body. Before Huron can respond, the vision is shattered by a sword slicing through the apparition. Snapping back to reality, Hiran finds himself facing Byung, who questions why he seems so distracted. Before Hiran can explain, he's thrust into a sparring match. His opponent disarms him, pressing a blade to his neck. She comments on his lack of focus and asks if he's feeling unwell. He admits that he hasn't been sleeping well for days. Young-wook overhears and suggests a different kind of training to help Hiran regain his strength. He leads Hiran to their makeshift gym, where the brothers enthusiastically demonstrate squats and bench presses. They insist that these exercises are the best way to increase strength and build muscle, assuring Hiran that he'll be able to wield his sword with much greater efficiency. Hiran nervously wipes his brow and excuses himself, saying, "Maybe next time." Shifting focus, he gathers everyone's attention to announce an update about their journey. As they get back on the road, Hiran shares his plan. Before heading to the Yeagle clan, he wants to make a stop at Mount Seven Sages. Young-wook asks why, and Hiran explains that he read in a book by a renowned herbalist that the mountain is known for its abundance of 100-year-old ginseng and rare monkey wine, a delicacy found nowhere else. Hearing this, the brothers start drooling, their imaginations consumed by the idea of the wine. Hiran teasingly mentions that their love for liquor has earned them the nickname, the two rising drunken ghosts. They enthusiastically support his idea, but Byung interrupts, pointing out that the mountain is near territories controlled by demonic sects, which could lead to trouble for their orthodox sect. Hiran brushes off her concern, suggesting they could simply disguise their affiliation by claiming they belong to another clan if confronted. Byung scolds him, calling it disrespectful and a betrayal of the clan's pride. Hiran counters, arguing that survival is more important than honor. Young-wook agrees with Hiran and downplays the fear of demonic sects, but Byung accuses the brothers of just wanting the wine. Hiran, trying to justify the detour, says he wants to gather ginseng to bring back to his parents as an apology for all the trouble he's caused. Byung, touched by his sentiment, reluctantly agrees to the plan, even though Hiran is internally smiling. There is no ginseng or monkey wine at Mount Seven Sages. Instead, his real goal is something far more valuable, the demonic poison stone flower. Hiran explains to himself that the demonic poison stone flower forms in a tomb where poisonous insects gather to die. Over centuries, their poison pools and crystallizes into a stone. Occasionally, a seed lands on the crystal, absorbing its toxic and demonic energy as it blooms into the rare flower. He believes the flower is hidden somewhere on Mount Seven Sages and could be a crucial ingredient for advancing his martial arts, which already have demonic roots. However, upon arriving at an inn near the mountain, he overhears other travelers discussing the flower, saying that many demonic sects are gathering there to fight over it. Frustrated, Hiran wonders how news of the flower has spread so widely. Byung, overhearing the conversation, warns Hiran that the mountain will be crawling with demonic masters and suggests it might be too dangerous to proceed. Hiran acknowledges her concerns but insists they won't need to fight anyone directly. His real target is Gaekyeok, the heir to the Hubei Serpent Dragon sect, who he believes will claim the flower last. Gaekyeok is a formidable opponent, having risen to peak level strength in just 6 months, but Hiran is determined. The flower will be a game changer for his martial arts progression. He confidently slams his drink down on the table, declaring they'll still go to Mount Seven Sages. Byung, exasperated, stands up and reminds Hiran of the risks. He explains that the mountain is on the way to the Yeagle clan, so there's a chance they might encounter them as well, making the detour worthwhile. Sighing, Byung agrees on the condition that they flee if they encounter martial artists they cannot handle. Hiran nods, then looks over at Young-wook and Nam-wook, only to find them passed out drunk on the floor. Shaking his head, he assures Byung he'll avoid unnecessary danger, though she remains suspicious. As they prepare for their stay at the inn, Hiran reflects on the chaos surrounding Mount Seven Sages, describing it as a gallery of pandemonium. He knows he's not yet strong enough to face such dangers head-on, so he devises a strategy. He tells the group to investigate inns and stables operated by the Serpent Dragon sect, looking for locations with few customers but plenty of horses. Gaekyeok, as the young sect leader, will likely stop at such a place to rest before transporting the flower. By staying at the right inn, they can intercept him and the flower without venturing deep into the mountain. Later, as expected, a group from the Serpent Dragon sect arrives at the inn. From a hidden vantage point, Hiran and Jong-wook observe them. Nam-wook joins them, and Jong-wook points out Gaekyeok among the group, identifying him as the young master of the sect. Hiran is surprised to see him there instead of at Mount Seven Sages, wondering why he isn't fighting for the flower. Suddenly, one of Gekiok's men runs up to whisper something in his ear. Gekiok's expression quickly shifts to shock and anger as he starts shouting orders, demanding that all the swordsmen from their clan gather. They're going to give chase. Jeongwook comments that if Gekiok is bringing out the 8 swords and the 8 slashers of the Serpent Dragon sect, then this situation must be serious. Hirin, however, sees an opportunity, noting that if something urgent has come up, Gekiok might be distracted, increasing Hirin's chances of securing the flower for himself. He instructs Jeongwook to get ready, they're going to follow the Serpent Dragon sect. Byong panics, yelling at Hirin for chasing after a demonic sect and questioning why he keeps dragging them into dangerous situations. Hirin explains that Jongwoo is on the verge of a major upheaval, and for them to survive the chaos they must grow stronger. The flower is merely a tool to achieve that strength. Byong retorts that they're not so weak that they need a mere herb to advance. But Hirin firmly disagrees, stating that they are weak and cannot afford to sit idly while others seize power. With a determined tone, he declares that his dream is to obtain the flower and protect his family from external threats. He demands Byong's trust and obedience as the heir to the clan. Stunned by his sudden display of authority, Byong begins to see Hirin as an adult for the first time. Jeongwook, amused, remarks that he never knew Hirin had such nerve. Both he and Namwook pledge their support, bowing respectfully. Byong reluctantly agrees as well but warns Hirin not to underestimate Jongwoo's dangers. Hirin assures her that he knows better than anyone, having experienced those dangers firsthand. With that, the group sets out, trailing the Serpent Dragon sect. As they follow stealthily, Hirin is surprised by the sheer number of sect members. The group starts arranging themselves in a tight formation, which Byong identifies as an inescapable net. Jeongwook, worried, suggests they move before getting caught, but Hirin observes that the sect's main squad hasn't acted yet. He theorizes they're waiting to strike when someone suspicious, or the person with the miracle medicine, appears. He advises patience as timing will be critical. In the distance, shouting erupts as the sect members claim to have found the person carrying the medicine. Using the commotion as cover, Hirin leads his group away, positioning them near a river. When Namwook asks why, Hirin explains that a person on the run would likely head for water instead of the forest. As they wait, the eerie silence of the river settles in, making everyone uneasy. Byong gulps nervously. Suddenly, a bloodied man stumbles through the river, screaming for help. Before he can get close, a massive purple hand materializes from nowhere, crushing the man like an insect. A burst of ominous purple aura fills the air. An old man emerges from the shadows, holding the flower they've been searching for. Byong recognizes him and whispers, horrified, that it's the flying demonic blood lion. Hirin, unsettled by the man's aura, asks if she knows who he is. Jeongwook is shocked that Hirin doesn't recognize him, explaining that among 100 experts in the demonic martial world, the blood lion would undoubtedly rank as one of the most fearsome. Hirin notes that the old man looks angry and realizes he's holding the flower they need. But before Hirin can act, the Serpent Dragon sect members arrive, surrounding the blood lion. Gekiok confronts the blood lion, praising his strength for defeating the Serpent Dragon sect's elite forces. The blood lion laughs, mocking them as weaklings. He adds that if it weren't for the Tang clan's interference, he'd have already killed them all. Gekiok smirks and pulls a strange box from his robe, asking if the blood lion recognizes it. The blood lion's expression changes as he identifies the weapon, the thousand-needle downpour. Gekiok reveals that he spent a fortune acquiring it and that every sect member surrounding the blood lion is armed with one. As the sect members aim their weapons, the blood lion scoffs at their arrogance. They fire, unleashing a dazzling barrage of needles resembling fireworks. In response, the blood lion claps his hands, summoning 2 massive purple hands that deflect most of the attack with a shockwave. Hirin watches in awe, suspecting the blood lion's power is beyond what they expected. The blood lion ascends into the air, radiating even more aura. Gekiok orders the second squad to fire another volley. This time, the blood lion is caught in the explosion and falls back into the river. Gekiok seizes the opportunity, commanding the 8 swords to retrieve the flower. They leap into action, attacking the blood lion from all sides. Despite being wounded, the blood lion fights ferociously, defeating many attackers with brutal efficiency. Byong, horrified by the bloodshed, asks how Hirin can remain so calm amidst the carnage. The battle reaches its climax as the blood lion, riddled with arrows and blades, collapses into the river, taking his final breath. Gekiok's men search the body for the flower but find nothing. Panic sets in as Gekiok shouts orders to search again, insisting the flower must be nearby. It couldn't have disappeared. As panic sets in, Hirin urges the group to follow him through the trees, explaining that the miracle medicine isn't on the blood lion's body but that he has an idea where it might be. Byung doubts him, pointing out that they saw the blood lion holding the flower, but Hirin counters, saying the old man likely sent it downstream. He reminds them of the water barrier the blood lion created earlier, not just for defense but to obscure their vision. Instead of dodging the attacks outright, the blood lion probably used his martial arts to push the flower into the river, intending to retrieve it later by following the water's path. Shouts echo behind them, and Hirin warns they need to move quickly before others figure out the same. Spotting a faint purple aura glowing in the river, Hirin races ahead and grabs the flower from the water. He tells the group to wait, pulls out a vial, and applies a substance to a different flower, handing the original box to Jeongwook. The group questions him, asking if he's using poison, and Hirin confirms it, defending the tactic as practical. The poison flower is a decoy, it'll fool their pursuers just long enough for them to escape. Jeongwook laughs, marveling at how easy their plan seems. While everyone else was fighting to the death, they managed to sneak around and secure the prize. Hirin, however, attributes it to luck. Suddenly, the box is snatched from Jeongwook's hands as a man descends beside them, his presence so overwhelming that no one even sensed him approaching. The group freezes in fear as Hirin turns, only to see the blood lion grinning at them. Shocked, Hirin wonders how the blood lion is still alive, having assumed he was dead. Without warning, the blood lion charges up his fist and strikes Hirin in the stomach, sending him flying as blood sprays from his mouth. The others immediately draw their weapons, ready to defend their fallen leader. The blood lion sneers, calling them greedy rats who don't know their place. He reveals that he intended to absorb the flower's power fully but has been forced to act sooner. Consuming the flower on the spot, he declares that he'll tear them apart and use their blood to replenish his energy. As his aura swells, a violent purple storm whirls around him, pulling at everything nearby. Byung, trembling with fear, admits this is the first time she's faced someone so powerful. She recalls the blood lion's earlier brutality, and dread overwhelms her as she realizes she might die here. Namwook steps forward, determined, and says he's always acted without hesitation. Byung watches in disbelief as Namwook and Jeongwook confidently move to confront the blood lion. They proclaim their loyalty as warriors of the Tiansong clan, vowing to protect Hirin, their young leader, and defeat the blood lion. Byung protests, insisting the blood lion is too strong and that they'll be killed. Namwook, however, points out that the flower was poisoned. Byung's shock turns to realization. The blood lion is not only severely wounded but has also poisoned himself by consuming the tainted flower. If they can stall him, they might have a chance. Namwook and Jeongwook charge, attacking with precision and speed. The blood lion, impressed by their bravery, applauds them for not running, but he remains confident. He shatters Namwook's blade with his bare hand and stretches his aura like tendrils to strike back. Just as the blood lion's attacks close in, Byung steps forward, wielding the Emperor's sword. A golden light emanates as she uses the Heavenly Lightning Ascension technique, slashing the blood lion's arm. Though hesitant at first, Byung's fear vanishes as she delivers the strike. The blood lion roars in pain, calling her a brat, but his expression changes as a sharp pain pierces his chest. He stumbles backward, landing in the river and coughing up blood. Looking down, he realizes he's been poisoned. At first, he assumes it's the work of someone from the Tang clan, but he dismisses the idea, knowing their poison would have a different effect. Turning his gaze to the group, he mutters in disbelief, realizing it was them who managed to outmaneuver him. The group brings the blood lion across the river, weapons raised as he grits his teeth and snarls, accusing them of daring to trick him. Coughing heavily, he somehow ends up back on the riverbank, his defiant laughter unsettling Byung. She notes, as the brothers predicted, that he's nearing his limit. If they hold out a bit longer, they might succeed. But her confidence wavers when his laughter grows manic, and he growls, furious at the idea that his end could come at the hands of nameless nobodies rather than the Tang clan or Serpent Dragon sect. His anger flares as he speculates that the one he flung earlier, Hirin, must have the demonic stone flower. Whether Hirin consumed it or not, the blood lion vows to take it, even if it means tearing open his stomach. Suddenly, the blood lion lunges forward with staggering speed, punching Namwook in the gut and sending him flying. Byung reacts, swinging her blade toward him, but the blood lion uses his shifting step ability to evade. He immediately targets Jeongwook next, landing a devastating punch to his face that sends him sprawling. As the blood lion extends his hand toward Bai Yang, she realizes there's no way to dodge in time. Out of nowhere, a red aura erupts and Hirin charges in, his blade slicing clean through the blood lion's arm. The severed limb soars into the air as the blood lion stumbles back, screaming in shock and agony. Hirin's eyes are void of consciousness, and a flashback reveals his earlier state, battered, bloody, and barely alive. After being slammed into a tree by the blood lion, his body was broken, his leg twisted unnaturally. Struggling to move, Hirin recalls the blood lion burning his life essence to chase him. Defeated and bitter, he laments how overconfident he had been, berating himself as blood drips down his face. Suddenly, a strange energy surges from within Hirin's body. The red aura from his core intensifies as ghostly hands materialize, urging him to relinquish control of his body. He realizes this energy belonged to the demonic master, the same power he had used in a previous battle. While tempted to surrender to the energy's overwhelming strength, Hirin ultimately resists, declaring that this is his body and he will protect those he cares about on his own. Rising against all odds with his leg mangled, he pushes forward, fueled by sheer willpower. As he breathes in and out, he gains impressive speed and is able to reach the battlefield in an instant, cutting off his enemy's arm with a clean, precise blow. Back in the present, the blood lion reels from the loss of his arm, his anger replaced by disbelief as he recognizes the demonic aura surrounding Hirin. Gritting his teeth, he questions how Hirin could possess such power but is interrupted by another fit of coughing as the poison wreaks havoc on his body. Bai Yang is relieved to know that the young master is still alive and has saved her, but realizes that the red aura is in his body. The brothers say that he arrived just in time and that the old man is very strong. The group finally gets together. Bai Yang, Namwook and Jiangwook regroup, noting that the blood lion's strength is rapidly deteriorating. Between the poison and the toll of burning his life essence, it's only a matter of time before he collapses. Hirin, pointing his blade at the blood lion, orders his allies to survive, taking charge as the heir of their clan. I have encountered countless mysteries on these lands. Yes, the situation is one I am still unable to comprehend. From here on out, I will forfeit my survival. I don't know how you received his power, but squirm as hard as you can, boy. Both sides charge at each other in a final clash, the tension rising as the battle escalates. Elsewhere, Geikiak, another combatant, arrives at the dried-up section of the river. The devastation caused by the blood lion's arts is evident. Scorched earth and shattered ground surround them. He spots the blood lion's lifeless body, finally succumbing to his injuries and the poison. Furious, Geikiak demands to know what happened to the demonic stone flower. His subordinates, visibly nervous, hesitate to respond. When one finally explains that the flower is missing, Geikiak raises his sword in a rage, threatening to execute him on the spot. After a tense moment, Geikiak sheathes his blade, frustrated and seething. He demands to know who dared to fight the blood lion and steal the flower, vowing vengeance on whoever it was.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, it really helps. And for more content like this, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see another part. I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you next time. Bye-bye.